Hi Day Psych family, welcome back. Before we dive in, let me remind you to like this video and subscribe to the channel so we can keep creating more psychology content that makes sense of the struggles we all face. Your support is what allows us to bring these stories to life. Now let me ask you something. If someone looked you in the eyes and said, "I love you," and another person said, "I'm in love with you," which one would feel more powerful? Which one would you want to hear? And do you think they mean the same thing? For a long time, I used to think they were just two different ways of saying the same feeling. But psychology, and my own experiences, have taught me that they are not the same. In fact, the difference between loving someone and being in love can change the entire direction of a relationship. Understanding this distinction might save you from heartbreak, or it might help you recognize that the bond you already have is stronger than you think. I remember when I was younger, I got swept off my feet by someone I barely knew. The way she laughed, the way she seemed to notice me in a crowded room, the rush of energy I felt every time we exchanged messages. It was intoxicating. I thought this had to be love. I felt alive, unstoppable, like this connection could rewrite my whole life. But a few months later, the spark dimmed, and suddenly, we had nothing real to hold on to. That was when I started learning that there's a difference between falling in love and truly loving someone. Falling in love is like fire. It flares up quickly, but if there is no foundation, it burns out just as fast. Loving someone is like tending to a garden. It takes daily care, patience, and commitment, but it grows roots that last. So what is the difference, really? Psychology shows us 7 key ways that being in love and loving someone diverge. Let me walk you through them, not just as theories, but as lessons I've lived myself. The first difference is choice versus emotion. Falling in love feels like something outside of your control. It is an emotional storm driven by chemistry in the brain. Dopamine, oxytocin, adrenaline. You do not plan it, it just happens. That is why we can find ourselves falling for someone who is not actually good for us, or someone who doesn't even know us deeply. I remember sitting at my office desk, heart racing because a colleague had smiled at me in the hallway. It made no sense, but emotions rarely ask for permission. Loving someone, on the other hand, is a decision. It is waking up every day and choosing to care. I choose to stand by my best friend when he fails. I choose to support my family when things are messy. And I can also choose to step away when trust is broken. Love is active. Falling in love is passive. One is something that happens to you. The other is something you practice. The second difference is gradual versus immediate. Being in love can hit you like lightning. One moment you are fine, the next, you are thinking about this person, constantly imagining futures, feeling that high every time you see their name on your phone. It is overwhelming and intoxicating. But love, real love, often grows quietly. When I first met Jenny, it wasn't fireworks. It was long talks at night, helping each other with small problems, building memories that stacked one on top of another. Until one day, I realized I don't just like having her around. I need her to be part of my life. Love rarely announces itself with a bang. It arrives slowly, and then it stays. Third, lasting versus fleeting. Passion is powerful but fragile. Research shows that the euphoric in love stage often peaks in the first 6 to 12 months, then naturally declines. I've lived this truth more than once. A relationship that starts with intensity can also end with the same speed when flaws appear, when disagreements pile up, when the chemistry fades. Love, however, endures. It deepens with time. It does not swing as wildly between highs and lows, but it survives storms because it is built on trust and companionship. That is why couples who have been married for decades often describe their love not as fireworks, but as comfort, a safe harbor, not a roller coaster. Fourth, challenging versus easy. Falling in love feels easy. Everything seems to click. The chemistry blinds you to flaws, and you feel like you can conquer anything just by being together. But that feeling does not last. Eventually, reality sets in. This is where love shows its true form. To truly love someone means to work, to argue without leaving, to compromise without losing yourself, to forgive even when it hurts. I remember one evening when Jenny and I fought over something silly, but it turned into a much bigger argument. My younger self would have walked away. But this time I sat down, listened, and admitted my mistakes. It was not easy, but it was love. Fifth, sacrifice versus support. When you are in love, you want to see them happy, but you are not always ready to give up something important for them. Because deep down, you sense that the infatuation might not last forever. But when you love someone, their well-being matters as much as your own. You put them first, sometimes even before yourself. Love is not about losing who you are, but it does mean choosing their needs when it matters. I skipped a career opportunity once because Jenny was going through a dark season, and I knew my presence mattered more than a title or paycheck. That was not about passion. That was love. Sixth, partnership versus ownership. Infatuation often leads to possessiveness. You want them to be yours and only yours. You crave reassurance, get jealous easily, maybe even paranoid. I've been there, checking my phone constantly, wondering if she was with someone else, panicking when she didn't reply. That was not healthy. Real love is not about ownership. It is about partnership. In love, we let each other breathe. We allow freedom, individuality, growth. I learned this the hard way. Love is not a cage. It is a choice two people keep making freely every day. Seventh, how they feel versus how you feel. Being in love is often about what they do for you, how they make you feel special, how happy they make you. It is self-focused. Love is the opposite. Love asks, do they feel valued with me? Do they feel understood? Do they feel safe? When I was younger, I thought love was measured by how high I felt when I was with someone. Now I know it is measured by how deeply I can help someone else feel secure and cherished. These 7 differences are not just abstract ideas. They are guideposts you can use in your own life. If you are wondering whether you are in love or truly loving someone, here are 3 simple habits that can help you figure it out. First, check your motive. Ask yourself, do I care more about what this person gives me or about who they are and how they feel? Second, observe the timeline. Do your feelings stabilize into peace and trust? Or do they fade into restlessness once the excitement wears off? Third, practice active love. Do something small every day that shows appreciation. Send a thoughtful message. Listen without distraction. Create a moment of joy for them. If you can do this consistently, you are not just in love, you are truly loving. Let me end with this. Falling in love is like fireworks. It is dazzling, loud, and unforgettable. But it burns out fast. Loving someone is like a candle that never stops glowing. It does not always thrill you, but it keeps you warm in the darkest nights. One makes you feel alive for a moment. The other gives you a partner for life. If you chase only the firework, you may keep losing it. If you build the candle, you will always have light. So what about you? Do you think you are in love, or are you loving someone? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if this video helped you reflect, please hit the like button and share it with someone who might need to hear it. Do not forget to subscribe so that Hi Day Psych can continue creating videos that help you understand psychology and relationships in a way that changes how you live. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.